2024 has brought us 13 new brawlers, if you count this broken lifted brawler. And now that we're in 2025, we're gonna be diving into the nutshell of every brawler in 2024. Number 1, Kid. Kid was released on December 28, 2023 for early access as a legendary brawler, and is well known for his absurd brokenness. He used to be able to charge his super during his super, and there was a bug in Showdown with Parkus that boosted this rate, and could let him infinitely cycle his super. But what made this worse is that he used to be immune during his super, so he was ironically more of an assassin than his so-called class support. Although as time passed, Supercell removed these things that made him broken, which made him underwhelming, because no one used him as a support, especially with them lowering his damage from 2000 to 1600. And we know 2000 damage is ridiculous on Kid, because that's what he is right now. But at the time, he was only really used for Showdown, because his star power used to be at 200% more effectiveness with power cubes. But later on, he does receive a damage buff back to 2000, and tanks such as Frank get much more stronger, which allowed Kid to make Frank even more tanky. This was also found with Draco when he was released. But in the recent months, it kind of fell off since there's way more better strategies with the new hypercharges and brawlers. So Kid is an alright brawler in such a situation, since his super can get countered pretty easily. Number 2, Lawrie and Lawrie. Lawrie and Lawrie was released in early access on January 25, 2024 as an epic brawler, and was as ridiculous as Kid. I mean, oh god, look at his balance changes. Lawrie and Lawrie is a thrower that's used for dash purpose, and we all know how annoying his super can get, so imagine his super being way worse. Yeah, that's what he used to be. Lawrie and Lawrie used to be able to get his super in 5 hits, and his protocol Protect used to be able to protect 100% of the damage instead of 30%. He also did have more damage / projectile speed, and a faster recharge rate with a super with Lawrie. But I think you get the point now. They just made his stats way too high, making him way broken in release. And like I mentioned, he did get nerfed heavily, especially with the supercharge rate and damage. But even despite his nerfs, he's still a very solid brawler, because he deals good damage and can control maps well. Number 3, Angelo. Angelo is definitely a chiller example than our previous two, but still above average. Angelo was released in early access on February 29, 2024, as an epic brawler with his damage being around 910% higher, and his poison damage used to be 50% higher, with it being able to charge a super. But speaking of his super, he only used to need 2 full shots rather than 3 to charge it up. So with the pro hand, this guy's a legit machine gun. He's clearly a sniper not to avoid, since even after his nerfs, he's still very solid today, because his insane damage build is super useful. Number 4, Melodie. Melodie is the definition of power creep stew. She is even more broken than Stew's release. Melodie was released on March 27, 2024 in an early access brawler as a mythic brawler, and unlike Stu, she gets 3 Stu super in 1, with her most broken build being slightly better in release. Her fast speed star power gave 8% speed boost per note, unlike her current 6%. And the interlude gadget gave 50% instead of 10% of her full health as a shield per note. But speaking of her health, it used to be around 12% higher. This allowed her to drive in modes such as Brawl Ball and Heist. Now all these stats I mentioned of course went down to our present day Melodie, and thanks to her strong build, she played very well in the 2024 World Finals. And now she received her hypercharge, which means more notes, but of course they nerfed the supercharge rate to keep this balanced. So Melodie is relatively a balanced brawler now, and can be good in certain situations. Number 5, Lily. Now Lily, unlike the first 4 brawlers, was an underwhelming brawler at first. She was released in early access on April 24, 2024 as a mythic brawler, and didn't really have any burst damage thanks to her only having 1 ammo at the time. Most of the time, you have to wait for your ammo to reload to kill the brawler you super onto, and that's bad for a brawler made to kill squishy brawlers. So later on, when they gave her 2 ammos, she was way too broken, despite them nerfing her supercharge rate by 50% and super damage. But she was actually way more broken than you might actually think. They still left her attack damage 12% higher than right now, which of course they still nerfed later, but still was a huge deal. And now she has the capability to burst and run away, being a menace to squishy brawlers. She's definitely not the best brawler because without her super she just gets countered really easily, but of course she's not the worst brawler in the game. Number 6, Draco. Draco had one of the most broken releases like every single legendary in the game, and that's thanks to him being underwhelming in the developer build, so they got a truckload of feedback to buff Draco. Now he was released in early access on May 30, 2024 as a legendary as mentioned. Now the main difference was that he had a 25% dash reduction instead of 15% during his super form, which caused the kit plus Draco to drive and basically break bows like knockout. Keep in mind that this was after Kit received his broken buffs. But throughout the months, the only nerf he received was the dash reduction going down to 50%, and Draco was actually still good after those nerfs. But the meta does change rapidly, and his nerfs of course weigh him down. So right now he's around a B tier as a decent brawler. Number 7, Barry. Barry was released in early access on June 27, 2024 as an epic brawler, and he was a very broken thrower, notably because of his main attack lasted very long, which was very good for area control, and his supercharge rate for healing used to be 33% higher. And oh boy, Barry could keep cycling that super very often, so later when the nerf happened, he definitely chilled down a bit. But this update he did receive a hypercharge, which in turn definitely made him very good, and he's a really good option as a thrower for supporting your teammates. Number 8, Clancy. Clancy, like the Melodie situation, is a kind of a power-cracked version of Surge release. Clancy was released on July 25, 2024 in early access as a mythic brawler. He had broken damage and could go to max tier even easier than Surge. He was a monster at Treatycakes, or just any brawler you can imagine. I mean, look at the amount of nerfs he had. Single-handedly, his super kinda one-shots everything. And despite his nerfs he had, he was really good at the world finals. And he did fall a bit for his brokenness because his stage 3 speed got removed, and of course he received other nerfs, but he could be relatively decent in some situations. Number 9, Mo. Mo had a broken start, like 90% of the brawlers this year. Mo was released on August 27, 2024 in early access as Mythic Brawler. Now Mo is a damage dealer, and we know how Supercell love making those stats going way too high, so due to him having a higher supercharge rate and more damage, he could easily shred enemies and get to them easily. Now he did receive nerfs for the past few months, but those nerfs didn't really do anything. Although he did receive a huge nerf in December, and that's the nerf that made him go from the best brawler to a very underwhelming brawler that he no longer want to consider. Mo just kinda got over nerf. Number 10, Kenji. Kenji is a no-skill version of Morris, but even better. Kenji was released on September 9, 2024 in an early access offer as a legendary. Now Kenji was broken in release, and his Homozaki healing gadget used to heal 75% of damage health. And his Nagiri Nemesis star power had 90% more damage reduction, and he charged his super 35% more faster. And that being combined with his healing ability from attack made him very broken. Basically, he was very hard to kill, unless he had a super good hard counter like Gale. Now in the past few months, he received nerf after nerf, and he's no longer like broken, but he can be solid still. Number 11, Juju. Juju is a very interesting thrower. She was released on October 30, 2024 in an early access offer as a mythic. She has the ability to change attacks based on the biome. This allowed Juju to be good in a variety of maps, unlike most throwers in the game. Her gadgets and star power are also very strong, especially with the slow star power. Now Juju has received no changes so far, but as mentioned with her build, she is the best thrower in the game, especially with the long range in bushes. She sets her brawler really hard to counter without a really good hard counter. Number 12, Shade. Shade was released in early access on November 28, 2024 as an epic brawler. Now there has been zero changes to him yet, so Shade still has those high damage stats. And most of us had the false illusion that he was like broken. Now he's definitely strong, but he lacks the range to be like really broken. And you kinda need to rely on his supercharged area well. This is another reason why his long arm gadget is very good for him. I think also as time passed by, people learned how to counter him well. Number 13, Buzz Lightyear. Buzz Lightyear is a brawler that combines every good mechanic they could think of, which made him really good. Buzz was released for free on December 12, 2024 as a limited brawler. He has 3 modes that basically allow him to be played in anything you can think of. Specifically, his saber mode is completely broken, with its damage and him being able to not ever let you run away with his super. He pretty much counters most of the brawlers in the game, and is definitely considered the best brawler currently, even after the nerfs they gave. I would definitely say it did barely nothing to him. Anyways, if you want to check out a video on useless gear idea for every brawler up to Kenji, check out this video.